Hello, our HazChat friends and family. Welcome to another exciting episode of HazChat. I'm Bob Koshik Nana with my co-pilot on the HazMat Zone Express.
Am I the co-pilot at the Express? So is that one of our commuter flights?
God, don't talk of flights with you and me.
Because I'm not taking credit for the delays as the co-pilot. As the co-pilot, I said check, and then you were like, no, let's wait.
Yeah. Whatever. Whatevs. Anyway, thank you guys for tuning in and checking us out again. Speaking of checking us out, please make sure you like and subscribe. Share this on your social media pages and wherever you can. Again, we do this for free because we want to get the information out to everybody. As our motto is, when you're through learning, you're through, and we truly want to get that information out. So today we got a pretty cool topic. We're going to talk of an incident that happened, and I actually had something similar to this right after I made HazMat Lieutenant. So we'll talk about that as well. But first, a little something from our sponsors. Hey, HazChat listeners, looking to boost your skills? Check out respondertraining.com. They've got top-notch responder training and essential tools like their 1-inch propane and CNG flare-off kits, water injection tools, and much more. Train smart, stay safe, and excel in the field. That's respondertraining.com. Enhance your hazmat training with Signal, the most realistic gas detection training on the market. For under $100, you can simulate any detection combination from handheld meters to fixed location monitors, and even confined space scenarios with their universal pump attachment. Signal delivers unlimited range and detector combinations trusted by top teams around the world. Visit signalapp.com or download the app now. Signal, unlimited range, unlimited possibilities. In Our Gear products, built by first responders for first responders. In Our Gear delivers innovative, field-tested tools for every level of hazmat response. The ZMAT card empowers ops-level responders to set the initial tone with quick, easy-to-use hazard identification. The R-Claw line boosts efficiency for technicians in the hot zone, and the WIMS board enhances command competence from behind the steering wheel. Trust In Our Gear, where reliability meets response. InOurGear.net. And here we are, back again.
Guess who's back?
Guess who's back? The boys are back. The boys are back.
Yeah, so today's episode, it's not going to be full of flash and flare and drama. This is going to be talking about, one of those hazmat calls that it's a sleeper call. It's a quiet call. You probably don't hear a lot about it. Doesn't make the news. It was very low key, but it has a lot of challenges to it. And Bob and I have both experienced calls similar to this, and it's some of the most challenging calls that you'll have. And those are calls that occur in hospitals or medical facilities that are active, and you have to balance your operation with their operations. So we're going to go over one. We're going to do a simple one, a simple 3-gallon spill of formaldehyde, which obviously, if I'm saying it's a spill and not a release, we're actually talking formalin here in a hospital surgical unit.
I'm glad you threw in the other word that it is called, because a lot of people will be like, I can't find it. I don't know what, but yeah, formalin. Yep. Because I've had that, and we'll talk about that later. But yeah, and this one's sneaky because the meter said nothing.
Yeah. So yeah. I mean, we should do that. We should have people follow along in their ERG and NIOSH, like those read along books, and then we'll play a little ding, and then you turn the page or go to the next reference text.
That's a good idea. We could totally do that. We're just popping ideas. We're just popping it out.
HazMat for children. Come on. Bestseller.
Well, farming our children to some extent. All right, here's a setup. Hospital PACU. So that's pediatric, right? Pre-surgical unit, approximately 2 to 3 gallons, as Derek said, of formaldehyde spilled in a designated spill room. Okay, so I mean, if you're gonna have a spill, have it in the spill room, right?
That's what it's for.
That makes total sense to me.
Go home. We're done. All right, great episode.
There you go. Chalk it up to another great one. But employees self-decon, no symptoms, no visible contamination, Area evacuated. Initial companies arrived. Hazmat unit is tied up on a medical call. So the
Okay.
first question, Derek, what's going through your mind?
Well, number one, it's going to be a very pungent odor. My concern there is going to be where is this spilled? And so I need to know what the size of that space is. What is the volume of that room? Because even 3 gallons, it doesn't sound like a lot, but it's going to off gas. So 3 gallons is a significant amount of liquid surface area. It's not a simple like beaker that was being used. That's a significant amount of formalin that's spilled.
Right. And exactly. And remember, we're not dealing with formaldehyde gas cylinders like Derek mentioned before. We're dealing with formalin about 37% solution.
hmm So yeah, like I said, that is going to off gas. And spill rooms are typically enclosed rooms. And the good thing is that they typically do have ventilation. But for those of you who've never seen a spill room is supposed to have some sort of an impermeable floor substrate,
Mm.
and it actually wraps up the walls so that it cannot migrate through baseboards and into other rooms. I had a call where a spill room did not have that, and it did migrate. So that'll be a show for another day because that
Ooh.
one was also interesting.
Oh, there you go. There you go. So, um, let's look at this a little bit, take a deeper dive. So, let's
hmm
talk toxicity. Formaldehyde is a respiratory irritant, a dermal
hmm
irritant, corrosive, and a known human carcinogen.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the big one. It is a group 1 carcinogen, so it is known to be a carcinogen, not suspected. So when we see that, a lot of times we look at things in NIOSH, and it has a carcinogenic risk. A lot of times it's a suspected or a potential carcinogen, but there are group 1 products that are known carcinogens. We have confirmed that these are cancer causing. And one thing that we cannot decon is we cannot decon cancer exposure.
Right.
The exposure you got is the exposure you got.
Yeah, and so the properties of this OSHA PEL is 0.75 parts per million over an 8 hour period of time. The stellar short term exposure limit is 2 parts per million, and the ideal H or immediately dangerous to life and health is 20 parts per million. So now here's the part people miss: irritation can start below the PEL levels. So you don't have to get there before you start noticing like, okay, my skin's itchy.
hmm
I'm maybe having some kind of respiratory something. My eyes are tear, whatever the case may be.
Yeah. Well, anyone who's ever taken a biology class and had the opportunity to dissect something is familiar with that pungent odor
Right.
of formalin and other preservatives. And your eyes are your meter. Your eyes will start to get irritated and water. So there's no subtlety to a formalin release.
Right. And it's a sensitizer. That's a key.
hmm
Repeated exposure lowers tolerance.
Yeah. So it's when we go to hospitals, we think about, oh, it's something that's in a hospital, so it's got to be relatively safe because they have it here. They're dealing with patients. They store these things. They handle it all the time. How bad is it?
Mm,
Hospital chemicals can be bad.
yeah.
Don't get into that mindset of because it's there and they handle it a lot, that how bad can it be? Oh, it can be bad. It can be very bad.
Yeah. I mean, exactly. Hospitals are chemical facilities with patient beds.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, really.
Great combination. Great combination.
Yeah. So let's talk about the meter problem. Entry team goes in with a standard 4 or 5 gas meter, multi-gas, PID capable. Okay,
Okay.
no abnormal readings. So Derek, are you comfortable yet?
So the PID was in their multi-gas meter. So I'm guessing 10.6 EV.
I would assume because that's typically what most departments do, but um,
hmm
I'm 100% sure this department has 10.6.
Okay. All right. All right. Um, I'm not comfortable.
Yeah, I mean, and there it is because formaldehyde requires appropriate PID lamp energy, right, or a
hmm
detected electrochemical formaldehyde sensor. I mean, we just pull those off the shelf and plug them right in, right?
Yeah, super easy.
Super easy.
Yeah, so for formalin, formaldehyde, that's going to be 10.88 on its uh, ionization potential. So 10.6 EV lamps and a 10.88 ionization potential product. Will it see it? Yes, maybe. And that's the caveat. We talk about the lamp's energy and in relation to the ionization potential of chemicals. Um, a chemical slightly above the ionization potential, or slightly below the ionization potential of the chemical, it can see it, but not reliably and with very limited accuracy. So you may see it, but there's also no guarantees. So you got to pair up the right thing. And the big things with this is it's it, it it's clicks versus competence. I was taught about PIDs, so I will use a PID for this. Well, do you know how to use that PID? Do you know its limitations, capabilities? Can I use it on something that's rated a little bit higher? Absolutely. Can I trust it? Absolutely not. Um, and remembering that just because you're getting no changes, and I won't say zero readings, because a lot of times people say, well, what are your
Yeah.
readings? Oh, zero. I got zero readings. Well, no, don't have zero readings unless your device has a dead battery.
Right. Exactly.
Um, yeah, you have your baseline readings, or you have no change from your pre-entry readings. But even if you get no change, you've learned a lot. You don't have a flammable environment. You don't have you're ruling out the things that you would be looking for, but it doesn't necessarily mean you don't have it. It just means that within the capability of the device, you don't see it.
Right. Especially with aqueous off gassing.
Yeah, and spill room like that, there should be an exhaust system that ventilates that room. So then the question is, are you not seeing it because there's not significant vapor production, or you're not seeing it because the exhaust system is functioning exactly like it should and it's doing a fantastic job? And then the question would be, when that spill room was put in and that exhaust system was installed, where did it exhaust to?
Right.
And have any changes in operations potentially place something either temporarily or permanently where that exhaust is occurring, and it was not foreseen that that was going to be a problem. So you need to find out, where does that go?
Right. Yeah, exactly. And we'll talk a little bit about PPE. So this particular incident, they made a decision to go level B with SCBA, butyl gloves and rubber boots. Conservative call. I will tell you that when I had a very similar call as a very young hazmat lieutenant, we put the guys in level A. Good call, bad call. It just kind of
Mm-hmm.
depends on the circumstances. But so that call that I went on, the biggest lesson learned was I didn't communicate to the entry team when they left the floor they were on what stairwell to use and where decon would be set up. So we'll
Mm-hmm.
talk more about that later, but sticking with PPE for a second, for this incident, the decision was made level B with SCBA, butyl gloves, rubber boots.
Yeah, and I mean, the question will be raised out there: was it overkill? Was it being under prepared? And this is one of those that we like to throw out in a classroom environment, because you'll get different answers.
Yep. Yeah, I mean that's the debate. So let's list the hazards first. Splash
Mm-hmm.
potential, check.
Mm-hmm.
Corrosive liquid, check.
Mm-hmm.
Inhalation hazard, check.
Mm-hmm.
Carcinogenic vapor, check. Unknown ventilation performance, check.
Yeah, and
So
then let's add all that into a hospital environment with immune compromised patients. Um,
yeah, just a
I
couple rooms away, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, yeah. But no, going back to the PPE, I'd support that. I think that's a I could see going with that. Yeah.
Okay, so level C would some people would say, well, what about level C? Well, let's
Hmm.
check level C for a second. You have to verified air below exposure limits. Okay, number
Hmm.
one. You have to confirm monitoring capability. So, can you find what it is you're looking for,
Hmm.
which we didn't fully have? So, C, mm, not so much,
Well, and
in my
we
opinion.
want to yeah, yeah. We want to pair the PPE to the hazard.
Right.
And one of the things that we say is, we don't want to overdress,
Sure.
but at the same time, it's not going to hurt when we don't have enough information to make us comfortable. Um, and once you commit to making that entry, you're going to follow through with it because you don't want to stop it, come back out, and then dress down. You're going to commit with that entry, and then whatever your entry team went in, your rescue team should be prepared for the same type of hazards. Your backup team, they should be prepared, but your backup team may transition to something else as more information is received. But yeah, I mean, I got no problem with dressing a little bit above where we need to be. It's kind of like going for a job interview, just a little bit higher than you think,
Right.
and you won't be disappointed.
Exactly. Exactly. So command and resource management. So here's another angle. Hazmat primary unit. Okay. So this
Hmm.
agency has a primary hazmat unit, and then they have, for lack of a better term, subunits, or uh I don't know what would be another good termination for it, but um
Almost like a limited capability, recon and simple
some
operation type situation.
and some basic technicians
Okay.
equipment. So the primary unit clears their medical call mid incident and asks if needed, and command decides, no, we're already dressed. Operation short duration. What do you think?
Um, Operation short duration.
So they had a hazmat. They had a
Hmm.
hazmat capable companies on scene, but not the big, as one of our friends likes to use, mothership. Uh, and it was not there. So the big red toolbox with the primary guys, if you will, weren't there.
So my feeling is I can always turn things around if I don't need them.
Mm-hmm.
But when I need them, it's too late if they're not there. So if it's not, we are exiting, we are completing. If it's still an active operation, I would prefer to have those people there because I'm not sure exactly what resources I need, and we may find more. We may find something doesn't work. Who knows?
Right. Exactly. And I don't have. I was on an incident where it was Engine 101, Hazmat One, and the Hazmat Truck Company, and
Hmm.
and it was a chlorine leak. And the chief at the time, I asked for a second Hazmat Truck Company because I knew we were going to be making multiple entries, and I needed those other four technicians, and he denied me. He refused it. He said we don't need that many units, and it came down to his thought process. We don't need that many units at a service. Well,
Hmm.
sometimes you need that many people on a hazmat call. Sorry about your luck.
Well,
So
and I
good.
will I'll admit that as a district chief, it is a balancing act sometimes,
Oh, sure.
especially if there's another incident going on somewhere else. We have to weigh those options, but ultimately, if someone's telling me I need this and they're the one that is the subject matter expert in that area, it's hard for me to push back on it.
Right.
We may have a discussion later on, but if they need it, they need it. If that means I got to get a mutual aid unit, I don't know. But if we need resources, I'm going to do my best to fulfill that from a command perspective.
Right. And we talked about the backup team is not the same as the rescue team. So, if
No,
entry goes down inside, who performs the rescue? Who is the backup, or they support?
yeah, and that's where the NFPA guidance. There's been a lot of changes coming through the last revision. The one that's being worked on now is there's really a push toward a dedicated rescue team and saying, typically we've always taught our backup teams are usually partially dressed. They're not fully buttoned up and zipped in because we need to manage their air consumption. We need to have them ready to go in and fulfill the task. That is not a rescue team. A rescue team has to be able to go the moment something goes wrong because at
Right.
this point, time is of the essence. So NFPA is really pushing, and I support 100% that you have a backup team and you have a rescue team, and those two are not the same.
Right. Yep. And something we don't think about too is, hospitals are complex layouts, right? So you got elevators,
Hmm.
corridors, obstacles, You've got people going down hallways that may not even know what the hell's going on yet. Most hospitals, they'll have, in air quotes for those that are listening, hazmat responders. But you may have six people. That's even if they're on duty that day. There's a lot of complexity to an incident in a hospital.
Hmm. Yeah, it's not your typical warehouse or industrial layout where we have more straight lines. You may be relying on elevators, because stairwells may not be an easier option because depending on what kind of security they've got there with locking out certain floors, it
Right.
can become a problem. So, I mean, you're looking at from the time that you breach the threshold of the entry door for the structure, you could be 15 to 20 minutes of time to get to your actual product,
Right.
depending on where it's located and how you have to get there. It's definitely a challenge, and that time, especially depending on like coming back out for decon,
Yeah.
where you're still going to be using respiratory protection, you can be down your respiratory protection prior to making approach on the product. But once you've made approach, until you go through decontamination, you got to maintain. So you have to figure and calculate that entry time as your egress time. And that can become a challenge very quickly. And that's where you're going to start burning through people pretty fast.
Yeah, and so for this incident, the absorbent was located, and it's
Hmm.
polyform F, and it's a 1-to-1 ratio per gallon. It's
Okay.
applied 2-minute dwell time, solidified, swept, bagged, and overpacked. So entry time on this was a total of 17 minutes.
Hmm. Okay. That's efficient to me. There's no rush happening. It's not a panic scenario. It's
Right.
very controlled. It's in a spill room with ventilation, and you've got the product to handle it there. Okay.
Yeah. So pH confirm acidic prior. PPE
Hmm.
checked during decon. Area remetered. Hospital advised to mop multiple times with water. Waste stage for third party pickup. Okay.
All right. All right. Packaging lesson. How are we going to package that?
Yes. So red biohazard bags. Hmm.
Hmm.
Well,
Mm, um, it's not a biohazard.
right.
Um, so even though we may overpack things, we may put them into other containers, things like that, we have to be mindful of certain packages have certain meanings. We wouldn't put non radioactive products into a container that has a radioactive label, because the end disposer, the contract that's coming to pick it up, is going to most likely have to open those things up.
Right.
And we want them to have a realistic understanding of what's in there. So if that is the only option you have to make sure that you thoroughly communicate that to the contractor who's coming to clean it up.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Hospital coordination. So here's the part that bothers me the most. No clearly identified safety officer, staff
Hmm.
unfamiliar with the term SDS, or the spill kit location was uncertain.
Hmm.
I know that I had personally have had interactions both when I was on the job and in our consulting role to try to talk with different hospitals in different locations.
Hmm.
And, unfortunately, I hate to say it, it's not until something happens that everybody goes, oh shit, we thought we had our game and we didn't at all.
Yeah, and I mean, eh, in all fairness, hazmat is not their primary job.
Correct.
You may have a safety team or safety officer. A lot of times I'll refer to them as like a hygiene officer or environmental health and safety officer, something along those lines. They're usually on the ball, and they kind of know what those things are. But you have to find that person. And you're going to be dealing with a lot of people. You're going to be dealing with them. Building engineering, you have to get them
Oh, for sure.
into your structure there, because they're going to be the ones who are going to be able to map out, where does this ventilation go?
Right.
Is it a shared ventilation system? Is it isolated to this one room? Where does it exhaust to? Is it functioning as designed? So it's a lot, and in reality, they've trained on it. but how often do they do it? And then how often do we meet with them and coordinate so that we know the players?
Yeah, yeah, and I know some of the hospitals in the Central Florida area, they have a safety officer that usually is alerted day or night, doesn't matter what time, to be there. But questions that you should ask is, who is your chemical hygiene officer? You got to kind of put it in terms that they're familiar with, right?
Hmm.
Where is your SDS binder? Okay, where's the binder with your chemical list? You might just have to turn
Yeah.
it around so they understand. And what ventilation serves this room? Like Derek says, you got to get engineering department involved because they're huge help in this kind of situation. So hospitals have compliance officers, but they're not always on shift. They may be a phone
Hmm.
call, but they're not always on shift.
Yeah. And I had one at a hospital that when we reached out for SDS information, they had transferred to being all electronic. Fantastic. No one knew how to log into the system.
Oh shit.
Not fantastic. There's going to be those unforeseen challenges, and that's where getting out there and pre-planning and having your own game plan kind of laid out in advance for these known established hazards. That these are sites that you have. It's a target hazard. It has a
Yep.
high risk potential. They've got a lot of chemicals there. I responded to a xylene spill, 55-gallon drum of xylene,
In a
and
hospital.
it's interesting. Yeah, in a hospital. And formalin and xylene are both used in the same processes actually for tissue, for preserving and cleaning tissue. So they're all used in that same process. So there's a lot of chemicals there that you might not be thinking about. And this 55-gallon drum, when we responded to that one, it was like, why do you need 55 gallons of xylene? Um, a little bit different profile than the formalin because obviously the risks are different. Xylene being highly flammable and
Hmm.
its flash point's 81 degrees Fahrenheit, so
Yeah.
we were ready to burn right then and there. But we should not be surprised that these industrial products or medical grade products even are there. The hospital is an industrial medical complex. It's going to have industrial and medical products.
Yeah. It's not just bandages. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so, so what do we learn? Zero readings don't equal zero hazard. And one of our slides in our classes is, basically it's exactly that. No detection does not mean there's not a hazard.
Mm-hmm.
Formaldehyde is a carcinogen. Treat it with respect. Level
Yep.
B was defendable.
Mm-hmm.
Backup is not rescue. Hospital chemical literacy varies. Waste stream labeling matters. And as Derek mentioned before, and labeling is a big deal. When Derek and I used to work for a private contractor um, that was hired by the DA for taking care of meth labs, we had to make sure that we had everything labeled DOT properly and the whole nine
Mm-hmm.
yards. So that is a big deal. So this wasn't dramatic, but it was disciplined.
Mm-hmm. And that's it was professional because professionals display discipline.
Yeah. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, share it with your team. Use it as a
Mm-hmm.
drill at night. Ask the hard questions. Guys and gals, listen, this is 30 minutes. You can sit down while you're eating lunch or dinner and go over hazmat call because we do, as we always say, when it, we do more training on fire and EMS stuff and less training on hazmat. And that's ass backwards because we should be training more on the calls we run the least on. Whether you like hazmat or not, you got to train on the stuff that is going to protect you, or so that you
Mm-hmm.
can protect you, and more importantly, the citizens, or as important, the citizens. So I'll
Yeah.
get off. I'll get off that soapbox. Um, Before we go, our social media sites. Make sure you, as I said before, like and subscribe on our HazChat channel on YouTube. We're on all the platforms as well. You can like and subscribe there, and follow us on Facebook. And the book is still going good. We've had to do many reorders, so we're happy to keep that going. And some websites for you guys. Please check out all these different websites where you can get great information. The Hazmat Guys Roundtable live show first Tuesday of every month, 8 p.m. Eastern. Hazmat Group 2, Common Sense and Hazmat are all great places to get great information. We don't know everything, and there's all kinds of people out there that know stuff, and it's about sharing. And it's what else? What is it about, Derek?
Well, it's about caring and being great at your job because, as our company motto is, when you're through learning, you're through.
You're through. That's what it is. All right, my friends. Take care and stay safe.